Hello everyone, today is the first Tuesday of March 2024, and Guardian Games is out, but that's besides the point. Bungie has started their first sort of wave of new loot, and part of that is the Prophecy Dungeon has been completely redid, and by that I mean the only thing that's changed is that some of the weapons are different, and we can get them with origin traits and whatnot, new perks, you get it. So the first encounter, which is the Phalanx Echo, we have Relentless, which is now a Strand Pulse Rifle, and then Prosecutor, which is an Arc Auto Rifle. For encounter 2 being the Cube Room, we have a Sudden Death, which is a Void Aggressive Shotgun, and the Adjudicator, which is a Kinetic SMG. And then lastly, for the final encounter, which is the Kel Echo, we have Judgement, which is a Stasis Hand Cannon, and then Darkest Before, which is now a Solar Pulse Rifle instead of Arc. So, are these weapons worth getting? Yeah, they are. Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt, they're absolutely worth getting. So in this video, I'm going to quickly go over just some of the possible roles and just why you'd even want to get back into this dungeon and get it. Because this dungeon's old. But I'm glad that Bungie's brought some life to it. And let's get into the roles. So first up, we have Relentless, which is a pulse rifle. It's Strand, primary, you know, it's been in the game. Some of the best roles I see, it's got Keep Away. I'd absolutely use Keep Away. I also see Rapid Hit in the third column, which seems pretty well. I believe that's... I would not go Slideways. That is not really, Slide Shot maybe. Slideways is a no, because it has that timer on it. And once that timer's up, you can't slide again to get the benefits. So no. I would maybe try to make a play with Slice, but I'd honestly probably stay away from that. So for PvP, I'm looking at Keep Away, Head Seeker, Keep Away, Moving Target, maybe Desperado. You can always go with the classic Outlaw Desperado if you really want to get, a little nostalgic. But that's about what I'd say for that weapon. It has Hatchling as well for PvE. If you want to do Rapid Hit Hatchling, Outlaw Hatchling, Keep Away Hatchling, either of those could work. Alright, next up is Prosecutor, which is an Arc Precision Frame Auto Rifle. I'm seeing some things here that look good for PvP and PvE and bad for both as well. So for PvE and for PvP, things I would absolutely avoid is Gutshot Straight and Discord, as I don't see any reason you would want to use those. PvE, I see Keep Away is great, Rewind Rounds, obviously. There's also Zen Moment, though, which seems interesting. There's definitely a play for that. PvE, on the right-hand column, you also got Volt Shot, Target Lock, Golden Tricorn, Frenzy. You could even make a play for Tap the Trigger if you're a little freaky like that. PvP, definitely Keep Away. I would automatically recommend Keep Away. Maybe Zen Moment as well. Rewind Rounds, not so much for PvP. That's definitely a PvE perk. I'd maybe try Target Lock for PvP. I'm not really sure how well that works on a precision frame auto rifle, but there might be a play there. Tap the Trigger is probably best for consistency though. Alright, moving on to the second encounter, we have a Sudden Death, which is a Void Aggressive Frame Shotgun. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big fan of aggressive frame shotguns. I'm not sure if you are, but ever since the shotgun rework, precision frames have been, mine as well as everyone's go-to. But for PvP, there's definitely some plays here. You got Threat Detector in the left-hand column as well as Slide Shot, which, those are both amazing for PvP. On the right-hand column, you have Opening Shot, which is about all I'd recommend, although Barrel Constrictor did just get a buff this past update, so maybe looking into that, but that does require a kill to activate, so that might be a bit of a downside on that. As for PvE, you have Repulsor Brace as well as Destabilizing Rounds, which sounds interesting, but I don't know how well that'd be on a shotgun. But, blow me away. You also have Envious Assassin on that left-hand column. And, there's a play for 1-2 Punch if you want to do that. There's also Trench Barrel, which, take your pick. Come on. They're kind of the same, but also not. So take your pick. They both have the same, melee shot cycle. So whichever one of those you want to pick, go for it. Now the next weapon is probably the one I'm most excited for out of the entire dungeon. It is the Adjudicator Kinetic Submachine Gun. It's a kinetic precision frame. So I've never been a huge fan of precision frames, but the roll on this, the rolls you can get, just absolutely wipe that out for me. This might be a PvP gun, but I'm looking at this mostly for PvE, as it has in the right hand column kinetic trimmers, but not only that, it has Onslaught, which has never been seen before in an SMG. It was only seen on Breakneck, but it was brought back on a couple auto rifles, and now it's on an SMG, which is just like, I really didn't see that one coming. But if you weren't going Onslaught, I would definitely go Kinetic Trimmers for PvE. There's also Perpetual Motion in the left-hand column, and Subsistence, which is always a great pick. If you want to try to use this in PvP, which, hey, it might be really good. Who knows? It's an SMG, so it's automatically usable. There's dynamic sway reduction, which is decent, and there's also rangefinder, which is also decent. But I would use threat detector, as that's, you know, you're going to be up in people's face. And in the right hand column, I would use most likely target lock, or I'd also maybe try fragile focus, as that might be a play here. Alright, moving on to the final encounter, we have the Judgement hand cannon, which is a stasis adaptive frame hand cannon. This looks so good for PvE. Like, this looks so good. Judgement used to be one of my favorite hand cannons, and it got completely outshined by other things in PvE as well as PvP. But Judgement has in that left hand column headstone, as well as moving target, both of which seem great for PvE. There's also Demolitionist, which if you want to run that, you can, but in my opinion, if I want Demolitionist, there's other things that do Demolitionist better than a hand cannon. In that right hand column, there is timed payload, which is absolutely what I'd want for PvE. But there's also a Vorpal weapon. You have to remember that does 20% extra damage on a primary weapon. There's also opening shot, which you can just use for consistency, but I wouldn't do that. That's more of a PvP perk. Speaking of PvP, there's slide shot, moving target, and maybe encore in that left hand column. In that right hand column, you have Eye of the Storm, opening shot. I wouldn't really go anything else except time payload, which could add that flinch to your opponents. Time payload is amazing because that little delay causes your opponents to get somewhat confused. That's what I found in my gunfights. And then last but not least, there's Darkest Before, which went from being an arc rapid fire pulse rifle to a solar rapid fire pulse rifle. And for PvE, this thing is looking nasty. You've got Subsistence in that left hand column, as well as Heal Clip, which just got a buff. In that right hand column, Incandescent all the way. You might be able to make a play for One for All and maybe Kill Clip, but Incandescent is just leagues better than those. For PvP, you've got in the left hand column, I'm not seeing a whole lot I like. Maybe Elemental Capacitator, maybe Heal Clip. But in that right hand column, you've got Head Seeker, which is just never bad on a pulse rifle. Never ever bad. So, these were all the weapons from the new Prophecy refresh, I'd say. These are all killer weapons. All of these, every single one. I know that I kind of skimmed over these somewhat quickly, but I haven't actually gotten to play with any of these yet. I've gotten a few to drop, but none of them have been rolls that I would even consider touching. So once I actually figure out what's good or not, I might make videos on individual weapons and go into them a little bit more. But this was kind of just to get it out there, show y'all what rolls there are, show y'all what you can get, and just let you know that it's worth grinding again. Get back in there. It is worth it, I promise you. So, thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.